Hello, hockey fans of all ages, shapes, and sizes. Just out here at the Chip and Putt with my boys. Jonesy here, Calvin. Jonesy and I actually saw from my balcony in London, Corey Perry back in the day. Winning the Memorial Cup. We saw the parade from my balcony in downtown London. My topic for the day is intensity. So Corey Perry's a guy that brings a lot of intensity. You think of a guy like mucking it up, going to the dirty areas. Shout out to Gilbert on my hockey team when we were younger. He'd always fall on the goalie. If our coaches always said, if somebody's going to come and cross-check you, then land somewhere soft. So that was always a classic. Oops, didn't mean to. I think it doesn't really go very far these days. The goalie's usually giving you a blocker sandwich if you're doing that. So, but on the topic of intensity, I really like Perry's game. And I know a lot of Leaf fans, they're kind of stirring the pot a little bit around this one. Just picking up a golf ball here. We're skipping over a hole. It's pretty busy today. Gorgeous day here. And another guy that I think brings huge intensity is Thrill Kessel. Now, I can already hear Leafs fans going crazy at this thought as well. I could see him balling it out with his 3 cups in the Leafs locker room. Like I saw his quote in his presser saying, I still want to play. So I think of some of those guys, like I still think Marner's probably the likely guy because he's probably the best, or at least the most valuable piece at this point. Two-way, Selke guy. He's got, I believe, 2 years instead of the 1 year for Matthews and Nylander. I'm hearing a lot of chatter around signing Matthews and Nylander, maybe even Nylander first from, I think Chris Johnston said that. If you guys are echoing that sentiment. So yeah, I'm not sure who the Leafs can bring on if they keep the core together. Let's pick up a few more golf balls here. We're skipping holes. Sorry for the extreme face close up here. But I think of, from an intensity standpoint, I think of guys like Kessel, Perry as free agents that the Leafs should definitely take a boo at and playoff guys to the core. And, I was listening to a podcast the other night and they said, I don't know about Ryan O'Reilly. Like, I guess it depends on his price, but I think he's probably not quite worth $6 million, but I think honestly, he's probably going to get pretty close to that on the open market if he signs with the Leafs for like 4 years, maybe. I'd say maybe he goes 5.5, 5.75. I also, just the last thing, I've been hearing a lot of chatter about the unthinkable for my Sharks. I'm in teal blue today. Trading Karlsson. No, don't do it, San Jose. Anyways, I did post on Locked On Sharks. JD, give him a shout out. He did that expose last night, and I was thinking, like, a team like San Jose has a lot of cap space available because they traded Timo Meier. He's got a huge contract. He's going to arbitration. I think they're probably trying to lock him in lower than his 10 million. And I believe that, as I said before in other podcasts, I think that's going to reflect on Willie. Potentially, I'm hearing Willie most likely around 9, and he already makes close to 7, right? So you bump him up to 2 mil. But this is the domino effect, as I've talked about a few times with the Leafs. They got just so many huge contracts up front. And if the San Jose Sharks were to pull the trigger, I would say Karlsson for Matthews, 1-for-1. What's up? I don't know if that trade would fly on either side. Both sides would be probably emotionally attached to the player, I'm sure. I know if Matthews is going to command, let's say his agent is asking anywhere from 14 to 16.4 mil, I think is the top 20%. If it goes up next year, it'd be around 17 mil for a year is the maximum you could sign. The only teams that could sign Matthews potentially at that number or close to that number would be like Sharks or Anaheim or probably like Chicago Blackhawks or something like that, a team that was, no offense, a basement dweller last year in the playoffs. And they all have high draft picks, and all of their windows will probably open up in 2 to 3 years when the mystery man Matvei Michkov comes into the league. So I'm interested to see. I still say Sharks should draft Michkov at 5th, or if Montreal Canadiens, if they're kind of, I hear a lot of rumbling that they're wanting to move up, so maybe the Sharks do a swap for, I think they have a late round first round pick at the end of the draft. I think there's a lot of good guys still in the top 32 in the first round. So maybe Montreal wants to jump up a place. They give their late first round plus their 5th pick for the 4th pick for San Jose. I think then you would put, basically, if you wanted to draft Michkov all along and you feel like Will Smith is a 1-pick reach, you put it in the hands of the Montreal Canadiens to draft ahead of you, and then it makes your choice a lot easier, because I think the consensus is Bedard, Fantilli, Carlson as 1, 2, 3. So it's the Will Smith, Matvei Michkov question. And I think, like I've said all along, I don't think you can go wrong. I want to say Will Smith is kind of like a Bedard replica. He plays a lot of the same way, righty shot. I'm a righty too, so shout out to the right-handers out there. And I think that Will Smith is going to have a great career, plus he's a centerman. So with all the, I don't think, the war in Russia and all these other things are coming up on, I have people dropping Michkov down to like the 10th, 12th, like, give me a break. I can't see it. I think there's no way he goes past number 6, especially a team like Arizona that is in a rebuild / maybe even moving their city or their team from the city if they can't get the Mullet Scottsdale situation that's a mess sorted out. I still want to be your social media manager, so shout out at me after the draft if you want. But I'd love to work for any NHL team. It'd be an absolute honor. I'd say for Phoenix, if Michkov drops to him, then there's no way he's not grabbing him. I've just heard Montreal maybe passing on him for like a David Reinbacher or somebody like that. The way it goes is with defense is other teams will probably follow suit right away if Reinbacher goes early. If he goes later on, then it'll, as soon as he's drafted, it might have a trickle effect on the other D-men in the order. We'll see. I would take Michkov if I'm San Jose. You've already got Hurdle, you got Couture, you got Eklund and stuff on the wing, and maybe a centerman, Will Smith, does make the most sense, right? But I still think if Montreal is begging to trade up, then maybe you could leverage that for a late first rounder and get another good guy. And if they take Smith or Michkov from you, then you just pick the other one that maybe you wanted in the first place. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be pretty hairy the next week or so with a lot of the buyouts and stuff. I still love Matt Murray going to San Jose for some kind of draft pick, late draft pick. They've got probably 12 picks this year, like Coyotes. I'm going to be really interested in Coyotes and Sharks drafts this year. It's going to be really fun to watch because they can really pad their depth charts. Montreal's been drafting like absolute gods the last couple of years, and they've got a lot of picks in the pipeline. The last thing I'll say, from an intensity standpoint, wherever Matthews is, I'd love to see a little bit more grit out of him and intensity in the playoffs. And I'm still thinking, draft day, if he ends up going to Phoenix, a guy like Clayton Keller, who said, his dad said he didn't want to play there. Logan Cooley said, I don't want to sign. I think that's more, he wants to go one more year, and I think it's Northwestern, I believe. But could you imagine the Leafs traded Matthews for Keller and Cooley and maybe another draft pick? That'd be pretty insane. Nyes and Cooley for the future of the Leafs as well too. So I know the Leafs are thinking now. But as a team, there's 32 teams. You got like a 3% chance or whatever of winning the cup every year. So you got to keep that in mind. Like, the difference is so small, as Florida proved to everybody. You get a good core, you go on a streak. Bob plays out of his mind, and that goes a long way. So there's a lot of parity in the league, and you got to think for your future as well as the present. So today's a gift. Enjoy it, everybody, and we'll see you soon.